Hello, welcome back. It is week 150 on Out on the Line podcast. I'm Jeff with my co-host Alex. As always, Alex, how we doing this week?
I am keen as a bean. I'm over here thriving like a little flower, or perhaps a tomato. But I'm doing well. How about you?
Well, Alex, you may not be doing so hot in just a moment here because we're going to play a game.
Oh no!
We're going to do it. It's a little variation here. This is going to be Guess That Artist. So same format as far as how the structure goes and the information you're going to get, but you got to guess the artist.
Whew, fuck. Okay, hit me with this out of the
So
gate.
for this one, because it's a lot less obvious than like bands are going to be, you are allowed to guess with each clue. There's no limit on you get one guess with each clue, so you can fire them off.
Oh, okay.
If I get to 7 and your 7th guess is not the correct one, you lose, big boy.
Okay, so I have 7 turns to get this right. Unlimited questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Are you ready to start?
Not even a little bit. Let's do it.
We'll start with the basic facts. This artist was born November 30th, 1955 in Stanmore, United Kingdom.
Okay. Should I guess every time, or if I'm like,
If
no,
you want to, you can pass. Yeah, you can pass on to the next.
Well, whatever. I'll take an opening salvo, I guess. David Bowie.
Wrong.
Okay. All right.
Was kicked out of the Scouts at age 10 for kissing a girl. Ew.
Gross, dude. Okay, I'll go with another pick. I'm not good with people's ages. I also just assume this person is an ageless mummy, who's just, birth date unknown, made up. But I'm going to say Mick Jagger.
For the his role in Oliver Stone's The Doors, released 1991, was originally much larger. This was reduced after his motorcycle accident in 1990.
Motorcycle accident in the 90s. Oh God. Shit. You say motorcycle accident. I don't mean to be a dick, but the first person I think of is Gary Busey, who's not in fact a musician that we know of. Oh my God. Jesus. Can you repeat that to me?
Yes. His role in Oliver Stone's The Doors was originally much larger. This was reduced after his motorcycle accident in 1990.
Fuck, who's in The Doors and who had a bike accident? I don't know. Also, I hate The Doors, so I think I saw The Doors movie once a long time ago. Wow, fuck. I am so out of my depth. I'm just going to throw a Hail Mary and say Keith Richards.
He had been James Cameron's first choice for the role of the villainous T-1000 in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The role was recast entirely as a result of the accident.
Oh, what the fuck? Wait, you said T2?
Yes.
It's supposed to be the T-1000. Gooey metal guy. Okay. Fuck. This is so difficult. This is the worst day of my life. I know I'm dealing with a British male who's what, like 80, almost 80?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
What was the birth year you said?
The birth year was 1955.
55. Oh, okay. So this guy's what?
Pushing
late
70.
60s, pushing 70? And he's British. And he got all fucked up in an accident. Someone is sitting there watching this screaming because they guessed it 2 questions ago. He was supposed to be the Terminator. God, that sounds like David Bowie to me. Oh, fuck. Paul McCartney.
Ranked number 55 on VH1's 100 Sexiest Artists.
See, now I'm just picturing Paul McCartney as the T-100 in Terminator, or the T-1000. Come with me if you want to live. with his little chicken jowls and his mop top and everything. I see it. It would have been perfect. Motorcycle accident. What's the clue you just said?
He was ranked number 55 on VH1's 100 Sexiest Artists.
Oh, god damn it. I know these are wrong, but I just got to try. Elton John. He's pretty sexy.
Okay. We're down to 2 clues now. Has claimed that he was offered the role of Spike on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which went to James Marsters, but turned it down because his manager did not want him doing television.
Oh, okay. Well, if I'm following context clues here now, is it Billy Idol?
It is Billy Idol, the Halloween grandpa himself.
Spooky Halloween grandpa party.
Yeah, that's I heard a Billy Idol song and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and make this the game.
Which Billy Idol song?
Rebel Yell.
Nice. The White Wedding guy.
Some might say the best Billy Idol song. White Wedding is also absolutely fantastic.
White Wedding.
Yeah, that's, I mean, just a truly unique, fantastic voice too.
Yeah, yes, burned beautifully, but whatever happened to him after then? I don't know.
You can find him on the Miley Cyrus album.
Yeah, at Creepy Crawly Halloween party.
Midnight Marauders or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what the song's actually called. It's called Night Crawling.
Oh.
But I never want to say it because it's so much more fun to talk about like spooky pumpkin punch.
Yeah, that was just, I decided because I was trying to think of a band to do or a year in music to do. And I was like, you know what? I'm digging this song. We're going to do this. It's just as good.
I like it. I like it a lot. So now I got to put one in the chamber and hit you with one when you're not expecting it.
Yeah. Well, we have quite an episode because it's been a little while since we doubled up.
Yeah, I'm having an episode right now.
I believe I'm correct in saying it's been quite a while since we doubled up. So we've got 2 albums to talk about today. One of them going to be the Orville Peck Stampede Volume 1 album, as well as Strand of Oaks Miracle Focus. We're going to start with the Strand of Oaks album. So an alum of the podcast, somebody like we've covered songs, Strand of Oaks has been around for a long time for us. I probably am the one that listens to him, I guess, the most.
You got me into him.
And it's really, I've always enjoyed Strand of Oaks. This is a complete departure. There's been hints along the way of using this very synth heavy kind of style. On certain albums, like on Heel, Same Emotions is a standout song for me, but very much would fit in on this album. And this album straight up is just all synth, like psychedelic kind of space rock. What I like about it is it's very different, but it almost didn't feel like a Strand of Oaks album to me.
I think that's actually a great way of putting it. I liked it. I thought it was good. It did not feel like a Strand of Oaks album to me, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But it was an interesting experience. Like when I started with it and I heard the first song, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be one of those like soundscapes. It's going to be like the shit that Vampire Weekend did that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
Just like playing with layering all these sounds and tracks on each other. I really enjoyed that like musique concrete song collage approach. So when this first song started, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is going to be great. Unfortunately for me, there wasn't like quite enough variation. So I got 2 or 3 songs in and I'm like, yeah, dope. And then I hit a wall where I was like, it's a mood, it's a vibe. It's all kind of running together. But then on subsequent listens, it's a little easier to parse them out, take them separately, anticipate them, find the nuances. Mm-hmm. The first time you're listening, it kind of feels like one continuous thing. And somewhere in there, for me, it lost some of the like introspective power that his writing has.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, once you listen to these songs again and you dig back into them, it's there. It's just like wicked stripped back. It's basically like mantras, just like repeating one pretty good thought over and over again, which like obviously goes with the synth style. But yeah, do you Care to elaborate on what
Yeah,
worked or didn't work for you?
so what didn't work for me, I think, was exactly what you were saying, is the first time you're listening through it was really pretty difficult to, I guess, really pick things out, because it was all done, once it took like probably third listen or so, you really started to understand these breaks between songs and started to understand the structure of each song so that you could really separate these things into their own little experiences as you go down through the album. What I appreciated about it is that, like, some of the synth songs that he's done are some of my favorite songs that he's done
Mhm.
in general. So, like, Same Emotions is one of the on the top of the rotation when it comes to Strand of Oak songs for me. So that kind of structure and song type works for me. It always has since I started listening to him. What I found difficult, and I think this might be kind of the point, because he's always been very like album oriented, like he's always been very much about the art of making music and not necessarily like trying to make it super commercial or anything like that, although it just does also happen to be very appealing as kind of a good easy listening kind of rock and roll experience generally throughout his discography. I think this is a huge stab into something unfamiliar, as far as what he's put out in the past. um, I think it's a really bold effort. I think it's really well put together. I mean, once you get to that point where you can separate these songs out, one of those mantras that you were talking about specifically, I think, what was it? The more that you give, the less that you need. And
Mm.
it's very much like the way that gets repeated, you kind of understand, because at first you hear it and you're like, oh, well, this sounds like just some hokey stuff you'd see at Hobby Lobby. You know what I mean? Like this, yeah, what does this actually mean? But then I kind of click back into knowing how sincere he is in creating this stuff. Like, there's no tongue in cheek about that. There's no like schmaltz about that. I think this is something that he truly feels. And I think once you understand and look at the perspective of why he was making this record, it makes a lot more sense. I think the other records he's released, I've not needed that extra bit of time to like get into it. Um, because I think with rock oriented records, it's tough to make it all sound the same, because you can have so many ideas, but with the synth stuff, like, it's always going to sound like a synthesizer. There's no getting around that at all. You can raise other things up in the mix, but it's like, at the end of the day, you're kind of creating these mathematical equations that translate into music, is kind of what you're doing with that. Um, and I can appreciate that, because I think the attention to detail that he displays on this is why it's successful in the areas that it is, because you can't like, anybody, I guess, could get Fruity Loops or Ableton or whatever and like make a beat. You know what I mean? But there were so many things going on in these songs, and especially when you listen on headphones or like a good sound system that's going to give you a really good full spectrum of sound. You hear these pieces of the beat like bouncing off of each other on a lot of situations. Like, a synth hit will have something like an echo, but that's a different sound, but it sounds like they're related to each other. Like, there was a lot of really great interplay between these sounds that he was putting out there. And I think once you get past that first couple song or the first couple listens of the album, you really can start to pull that out.
Yeah, it's an interesting experience because you start off, you're like, "Yeah," and or at least for me anyway, I shouldn't say
Mhm.
like, "This is what will happen to you." Subjectively,
No,
I
we put
started out
the out on that line guarantee on that one.
you goddamn right.
Yeah.
I started off listening to it, and I just, like, was kind of like Kenny Powers power strutting through my neighborhood. I'm like, "This music has me feeling some kind of way." And again, I heard like the same kind of sound collage stuff Vampire Weekend was doing. I heard like sonically, Muse has a very identifiable sound.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, like they have
It's
these
perfect.
very specific like chords and chord progressions, and like it's an identifiable sound. Now, their last album, Defiance, Compliance, whatever the fuck that one was, sucked.
Yeah.
Absolutely sucked. So your mileage may vary with something like Drones. I happen to like that album, but a lot of people don't. So like at a certain point, Muse kind of like content wise lost the plot. So take that out of it. Take this kind of like wonderful sound that they're making. Take all of the non-shitty parts of Father John Misty, the whole like super pretentious, like, don't get me wrong, I love me some Father John Misty, but when he decides to disappear all the way up his own ass, you aren't ever getting him to come down off
No,
Mount My Small Colon.
no.
So take the negative aspects of Father John Misty, the negative aspects of Muse, get them out of there. Put the positives together where you've got like the sort of, I don't know if I necessarily want to call him mystical, but he definitely has sort of a spiritual, cosmic whimsy
Mhm,
to him, and certainly in the content of his lyrics. And that actually pairs really well with the synth because it's so well done. It's so lush and layered, and there's so much thought put into it. When you said mathematical equation, that's like pretty true, and it doesn't mean like soulless like math.
mhm,
It's just so disciplined, it's so like well constructed. So for what it is, and it always had to be the way that it was to work.
mhm.
And it does work. It's just adjust your expectations if you're going in looking for shut in. If you're
Yes.
looking for, that strand of oaks, it's going to completely subvert your expectations. But that's also a good thing because in a vacuum, it's a great synth album, like putting it on at work and just fucking going.
Mhm,
I don't mean to like reduce it to work in music. I just mean like it has a great kind of like bodily effect. It's
mhm.
it's so it's solid for what it is once you can get around adjusting your expectations.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple, like, really strong I mean, "More You" is a fantastic song. I mean, you were beating around the bush and saying like, "Oh, you may not you don't have to love it," but I think that's the one people are gonna really like on this one. I think the back half of the album, like, for me, as I listen to it more, just gets cooking
It
so hard.
does. Yep.
Just gets cooking so hard. What I really another one of those little drawbacks was kinda like Future Temple, Party at
Mhm.
Monster Lake, like, was
Mhm.
okay, but there's not the front and the back of the album, phenomenal. It's the couple things in the middle there that keep this from getting up to a level of Heel or Eraserland for me, or any, some of those albums of his that I absolutely love. Hard Love, I mean, what a phenomenal album that one is. It's really it's a much different album. I feel like this is as big of a departure from how he sounded before as like Arctic Monkeys did, going to like the Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino era.
Mm. And it's been like a real gradual progression up to this point with like adding in the kind of like cosmic, more psychedelic
Mhm,
elements. So I guess you would call this earned. Like in screenwriting, it's like, oh, you've got to have this culminating moment if it's been earned.
mhm,
So this has been like an honest progression. When the Arctic Monkeys took that hard left turn, Tranquility Base, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then I heard the car and I was like, I don't think you can do this
mhm,
twice. I don't think you can do this twice. I don't think there's enough room within that framework. Um, so to that end, this feels like an experiment that was kind of in the making under our noses this entire time. And if
mhm.
I came out of the gate sounding strong, being like, this thing, it sounded too fucking similar, and I can't go for that. I guess it's just the story of my listen, where I started to where I ended up, which was,
Mhm,
yeah, fuck yeah, huh, a little bit of sag in the middle. It ends, and you go, not what I was expecting. Walk away, come back to it, do it again.
mhm,
Oh, okay, now I see this.
mhm.
Got it. Nice. I got the nice headphones on this time so I can just kind of like disappear into the texture of it. Um, I think that's one of the big keys of it too, is one of my main takeaways, use your good headphones.
Yes.
It's the
Yeah, or
greatest time to throw
something
it.
that's got more than, like, one speaker to it. A little Bluetooth speaker, generally not gonna cut it. Something that's at least got the ability to do, like, stereo sound, gotta have it for this one. I'm looking forward to getting to a record store, because I don't know so this is funny. I don't know if I'm gonna rate this a buy it overall. I am going to buy it. but I think I think I'm gonna rate this for the people as a stream it. I think for me, it's a strong album, a strong Strand of Oaks album. I think if you are already a Strand of Oaks fan, you're gonna like it. And I think if you like synth music, you're probably gonna love this. If someone recommends Strand of Oaks to you because of the rock side of things, and you go listen to this album, you're not going to have the experience that people planned on you having. It's just completely different than anything he's done in the past, except for a couple little spots here and there. So I'm going to rate it as stream it for the show.
Dump it, skip it. No, I'm kidding. Stream it.
Oh, dang! I was like, well,
No.
apparently I can't trust anything you say on this show anymore.
Really, Showalter, no. Yeah, no, I give it an enthusiastic stream it. If you
Yeah.
like Strand of Oaks, this will be pretty trippy. If you've never heard Strand of Oaks before, maybe don't start here. Or maybe just go in naked and you'll be
Yeah.
unspoiled and you'll go, you know what? Disco synth. I
Yeah,
like it.
and then it ruins the rest of Strand of Oaks for them.
And
So
then
they
you
just go
can't
backwards.
enjoy the other stuff.
Yeah.
Pick your
Well,
poison.
two stream it. So you know what? I had a feeling that's exactly how that was going to go.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, now let's talk a little bit about that Orville Peck album, Stampede Volume 1. So I think part of the reason that we decided to do two albums this week was when this got released, there's only what, 7 songs on it?
Mhm.
Is it 7? Yeah, 7 songs. And there's a lot more coming. Like if you look at the Genius like album lyrics, there's a version of it where it's just like the volume 1 part of it where it's got the 7 songs, and then there's a version where it's got a ton more songs on it that just show unreleased, I guess. So right now I feel like we should be treating this as an EP with the LP to come later. Now, as far as the artist, Orville Peck, like I don't know a ton about him. I think that's the point. I think that's the reason he wears this, like it's a mask, but it's like a curtain more than it's a mask, I think.
Yeah, it used to be like a beaded curtain that went over his face because, to my understanding, his first career or his like entry into music, he was a punk rocker. He was
Mhm.
a punk musician. I may be totally wrong, but I feel like I read that he was a punk rocker who then wanted to make this foray into country, and whether it was so that he'd be taken seriously or what, he built this persona with the beaded mask that he kind of hide behind
Mhm.
to allow him to experiment this thing without any expectation. It's like a Stephen King, Richard Bachman type thing.
Yes.
You want to try
Okay.
something else, you go under Bachman. And then somebody figures out you're Bachman. And I think we're at that point because he started to wear just like a Lone Ranger mask now, I think, to
Mhm.
maintain the integrity of the character. But I think the jig is
Yeah.
up. Somebody, I think, identified his tattoos when he was
Oh,
sleeveless.
okay.
Some sleuth kind of burst the bubble. So I think at this point, and I could be wrong, the mask and the get up are part of the persona and
Okay.
maintained for that reason, I believe.
Okay. Well, that'd be interesting if someone can get in the comments and tell us for sure, but that sounded like a good enough explanation for me. So Orville Peck, I want to say, like, there's some of these songs on here where I just want to get it out of the way right off the bat. It could like a dead ringer for Elvis.
Yeah. Oh,
Like the
yeah.
voice. I mean, just like so like velvety and round and warm, like it just such a really pleasant. I don't know how that would sound with punk rock. I think he found the better I think he found the better lane for that kind of voice. And what I also like about this album is that every single song is a duet. Or
Yes.
with a group like with Midland there. I really think that's a cool choice. I think for some reason like country music lends itself to that so perfectly. It's just like the fact that like Sturgill and Tyler Childers haven't done a song together is kind of crazy.
That is kind of
You
crazy.
know, so it's to me, there's so much of that. Like Chris Stapleton's done duets with everybody. Like they all do songs together. It's just like a thing. And I really like that he picked a very like diverse, not just in like the people themselves, but like the type of music that they do. A very diverse set of people to like have on this album. Um, I think the only one that's a cover, I think, or are they all covers?
No,
The only one I think is Saturday Night's All Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
which was probably my least favorite one, but go on.
Yeah, that's so because that didn't do anything new. Like the funnest part of
Yes.
that song is the "Ooh," and they didn't even do that very well. Like they should have had some powerhouse like backup singer because if neither of them could hit that note, should have had somebody come in and do it.
Yeah, I think you just don't do that one because part of the part of the magic of Elton John music up to a certain point is how coked up it is.
Mhm.
Saturday, Saturday, like it's perfect for what it is. And he's, a 98-year-old man now. He can't, like the energy isn't there. And the energy you get from the song is just like he's in the studio, like Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. It's just not. I'm sorry, being a real dick to Elton John.
Yeah, performing that song for like this 18,000th time in his life.
And it sure sounds like that,
Yeah.
exactly that when you hear it. It's just not that compelling. I thought it was a weird choice. You can't say like Orville Peck was bad on it. It was like just meh.
It was I think in the when the whole album comes out, hopefully that one just gets kind of lost. I think with this
Mhm.
being so short, it does stand out more than it should. Because I gotta say the Hurtin' Kind, what a phenomenal song.
Yeah, dude.
Like
You
this album, other than Saturday Night, like this album was pretty freaking good. Um, just that voice, that like the Hurtin' Kind, Chemical Sunset was such a cool song.
Mhm.
Miet Mienteme, I think I said that right. Beautiful song, completely like almost a different genre entirely than everything else he was doing, but just overall, I mean, very, very talented guy.
Super talented, and like you were talking about how he's a dead ringer for Elvis. For me, it's Elvis mixed with Cash.
Mhm.
It's just this like wonderful. It could sound like he's being a dick if you didn't like buy in, if he didn't buy into it authentically, and if you didn't buy it, if the
Mhm.
consumer doesn't buy it. But it totally works. It's 100% honest. Even something like cowboys are frequently secretly fond of each
Yeah.
other. I love that song. I think it's the big one off of here, and it's just such a like it's a big finger in the chest for people that are like, "Where my country gone?" And they're
Mhm.
like, "I don't like all these politically corrected up country music stars. I'm gonna paint with a broad brush." But
Mhm.
a lot of people I think are pissed off about like how gay country's gotten. So then there goes Orville Peck and Willie Nelson being like, "We're gonna throw in everything but fisting, baby. Don't
Yeah.
you worry. We got you covered."
Yeah, you thought it was before. You've seen nothing yet.
And the truth of the matter is, like, the stuff they're talking about, like, I'll botch the line, but it's basically like, there's a woman inside every man and a man inside every woman, and it's like, "Oh, we're doing a little, like, Jungian philosophy where it's like the
Mhm.
anima and the animus." It's technically true, and maybe, like, shitheads don't wanna hear it. But it's a fun song. It is a
Mhm.
funny song, not at the expense of the gays. It just, like, checks a lot of boxes in terms of being, like, entertaining, having a
Mhm.
cool message, and just being, like, kind of a unique song. Um, so that one, 10 out of 10. And it's like 9 out of 10 relative to the fact that there's only 7 songs on the EP.
Mhm.
I I thought every single one was fucking great and really fascinating except for Elton John.
Yeah, they were I I would love to see Orville Peck do like composing or like the soundtrack to a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Interesting. Do you remember True Detective season 1, the theme song?
Oh yeah.
Here climbs as well. Like, I could see him doing something like that with the trumpets and shit like that.
Mhm.
If like Tarantino was doing a Western, I could see him
Yes,
scoring a
that's what I mean.
Tarantino Western,
But even like Kill Bill had some like Western songs to it.
spaghetti Western, like,
Yeah,
yeah, like Sergio Leone shit.
that's what I mean. It's like have him do the singing on that. Like
Yeah.
someone else can score it, like do the music for it, but like get that voice on it. I mean, it just like gives me that vibe. Same thing with like the Johnny Cash thing there. I forget, damn, I can't remember which song it is, but he goes like way down here at the end of one of the lines. And I was like, damn, that's that like Johnny Cash, like letting it rattle down to his toes.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
And it could have been like total silly nanny stuff because you're like, here's a dude in a mask doing a crazy voice, singing about gay cowboys. What is this? But
Mhm.
again, like it's we're not afraid to say it anymore, folks. It's the authenticity of it,
Oh.
where there is no joke, but it is still playful and fun. But the music backs its shit up. It's just very interesting. It's so different from what Tyler Childers is doing, from what Sturgill Simpson is doing, from Casey Musgraves on her little journey. God bless her.
Mhm.
It's so different from what a lot of people are doing, but it's not like it's still country.
Mhm.
It's
I
country. It's country ass music.
I like that it's the kind of like Western country, like the classic
Hmm.
Western country, and I feel like that's such and I love that he put in the Spanish song. Like that's such a great idea because I mean, in Texas, like every other car that drives by is Latin music
Hmm.
blasting out of it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's ubiquitous down here. So when you're making music that sounds like that, you're on the frontier, West Texas, like kind of thing, that stuff's going to play into it too because it's such a big melting pot of every kind of person like that down here. It really does. It says a lot, like how many artists were like hopped on here like this. Obviously, Willie Nelson has never given a shit what anybody has to say about the things he wants to stand for. But like a band like Midland has like real legitimate mainstream country popularity right now. Like they're the same people that love people like Morgan Wallen and stuff like that. They love Midland. Like they're
Hmm.
that kind of band, and they're good. Like they're the one that does that drinking problem. Like that's a
Oh
great,
yeah.
great country song. Great country song. But it's Orville Peck has like put his flag in the sand and said these are the things that I stand for and that I'm going to represent. And it's you can't like take that out of it. When you're a country artist, like you have to think about that. And I think everybody being on this album is very much like making a stand with him. Like you can't do it if you're not. And I think that the dedication they all had, like that Chemical Sunset song. I mean, I don't know who Allison Russell is, but dang, like
Yeah.
that was such a fantastic song and just so well put together in contrast to the song that he does with Noah Cyrus.
Oh, which is
Like they're
also great.
great song too, but just two very different songs. And then that goes right into the Spanish song. I mean, it's just like you get hit by so many different kind of genres. They all kind of rotate around the same base concepts, but you get hit with so many different angles and he can nail every single one of them. I mean, it's just like pretty insane. One, nailing every single duet, like every single artist on there crushes it, except for Elton John. He's had his flowers, he's fine. Um, but like every single artist crushes it. With Midland, like you don't hear any sort of solo Midland stuff. They're just harmonizing because that's what they do best. So they're just like backing him up as kind of like a house band for him. And it's just so awesome to see every single one work as well as it did because it's almost like when you think about something like this, you're almost bound to have some duds, right? And maybe there will be on the full album, but if this is any indication of what the quality of that's going to be, it's probably going to be fantastic.
And I think the key is he's not necessarily like full on taking the shape of his container, but he is writing stuff that plays to the strengths of the people he's working with.
Mhm.
Cowboys are frequently secretly fond of each other. Has a lot. It's right in Willie Nelson's wheelhouse.
Yeah,
Ancient.
those internal rhymes, he
Oh
loves
yeah,
always has done that. Yeah.
so it comes off perfect. Um, Yeah, I think for me, this served as a great appetizer for the full deal for
Mhm.
Stampede. I would assume Stampede is just going to be the whole thing.
Yeah.
We missed out on Bronco. That was his last one. That was like maybe almost 2 years ago at this point.
Mhm.
We
I think that
talked
was
about it.
actually before I was looking it up. It was 2019. I think
Whoa,
that
really?
was before we were even doing the show.
Whoa, for real?
Yeah. That's when I think that's when I'm gonna look it up now, but that maybe he came out with one since then, but I think Bronco was 2019.
Well, damn.
Oh, Bronco Pony was 2019. Bronco was 2022.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then we're getting Stampede.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I Stampede Volume 2, Stampede the whole thing. I don't
I
know. We're
feel like
keeping with the
probably just
pony
called
theme.
Stampede, yeah, because it's just on the it says just Stampede on the upcoming release thing.
What if all the other songs are more Elton John covers?
So I can tell you who was on the rest of the album.
Don't tell me everyone. Tell me a couple good ones. I want to be
Okay,
surprised.
let's see. Beck is on there with him. Yeah. Um, Kylie Minogue,
Oh, that's going to be a barn
but
burner.
that's also with Diplo. So that, yeah.
No,
Let's
hey,
see.
listen. Diplo did a cool thing with uh
Sturgill
Labyrinth and Sia
and Sturgill.
and Sturgill. But that have you heard that LSD album?
No, I'll look it up though.
Oh, you should. It's fucking great.
Okay.
Mitch turned me onto it. Makes sense.
Margot Price.
Okay, no more. I'll shit my pants.
Yep.
Margot Price. You had me at Margot.
Yep. Yeah. So there's going to be 15 songs on that one.
This could be a fucking
And
barn
he does
burner.
a cover of Rhinestone Cowboy.
Who does he do it with?
TJ Osborne, I think probably from Brothers Osborne, I would assume.
Oh,
Waylon Payne and Fancy Haygood.
don't know those last two. They sound made up.
Waylon Payne. People can just watch me do this. Okay, Waylon Payne. Is he related to Waylon Jennings?
He's related to Major Payne.
His father became a longtime picker for Willie Nelson. Okay. He's the son of guitarist Jody Payne and Grammy Award-winning country singer Sammy Smith. Okay. Okay. I've never heard of him. That's the most I've ever read about the guy. Let's see. Fancy Haygood. Let's see what that's about. Fancy.
I had a Fancy Haygood once. Cost a fortune.
American singer. Oh, it looks like a it looks kind of like Luke Combs, but more like the Orville Peck version of Luke Combs.
Split the difference between Luke Combs and Jelly Roll?
Well, he looks more fashionable than Jelly Roll.
Yeah, Jelly Roll's a fucking blob, dude.
Yeah.
I hate Jelly Roll. I don't hate him. I can't stand Jelly Roll.
I would say like a mix between, between like Luke Combs and like Jonah Hill.
Okay.
Getting more towards like the fashionable side of things. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that album's probably gonna be fantastic. Orville Peck's voice on Rhinestone Cowboy is going to bang.
Oh my god, like a rhinestone cowboy.
Yeah, just oh my god, that's
so
gonna
good.
bang. Yeah,
sick. Well, I'm gonna give this a stream it in anticipation of the LP. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna say stream it because I just feel like it's not a full album yet. It's not fair to like say buy it or skip it. We're gonna say stream it for now. I think it's something maybe if we revisit the whole album or if we just update once we listen to the full album and just say whether it's a buy it or not or do a short little thing. We can figure that out when it comes out. It just says 2024 right now, so I don't know when that's going to be, folks. But I can promise you'll find it on Out on That Line forward.com/ you do it. You do it, Alex.
Leave that
I
to
tried.
the professionals.
I tried. You do it. God,
you gotta leave that one to the pros, man.
It's the most embarrassing moment on the podcast.
Yikes! These people came here to wet their beak.
Other than that time, a couple of chuckle fucks did a Steely Dan episode.
Hey, now listen.
Yeah, I'm lashing out.
It's all perfectly legal. We didn't just do a Steely Dan episode. We've technically done 3, and we have an idea for a 4th. So, but that's neither here nor there. If in fact that 4th Steely Dan episode does come to fruition, you're gonna find it in one place. And you might already be here, or you might be late to the party, hanging out and listen to this on Spotify, in which case, what the fuck are you doing? Get with it and join us at youtube.com/C/out on that line. That's right, folks. We're here and we're here for you. And we want to welcome you with open arms. But before we can do that, you got to do a couple things on your way in. You have to smash the like button. You got to smash it. YouTubers say smash that like button, and it works for them. They have millions of followers. So smash. Do not tap. Do not graze. Smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have your notifications turned on so that when we drop more hot nuggets like this, they go straight to your inbox. That's how YouTube works, as far as I understand it. And the one thing I do know is that it's really helpful when you leave comments. They can be nasty, they can be supportive, they can be albums you want us to listen to, or songs you want us to react to, or just a miniature journal of your day so that you don't go into your office tomorrow and finally beat your boss to death with a swing line stapler. Okay? You don't want to do that. We're trying to save you. We're trying to save you a lot of aggravation and headaches. So let us heal you at youtube.com/C/out on that line. It's that simple, folks.
Yeah, that was much better than mine. Until next time.